Hello everyone, today is 28th of March and I welcome you all at the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of Hindu, and I would like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this video from our Telegram channel. Link is given in description box. Now first of all, let's see overview of the newspaper. So guys, first of all, we don't have much of the relevant articles on the page number 1, and then in city section also the regional political issues etc has been given. Then these advertisements, tenders, all these things are there, so no need to go in detail here because nothing relevant has been contained. Okay, so full of advertisements and just regional issues. So guys, directly we will be moving to editorial page, and on editorial page the first article, Nepal a crucible of fragile coalitions. Now this particular article is talking about the internal political issues going on in Nepal, okay, and what will be the implications on the internal politics. Please don't go in this particular article for your examination, not important. Then dwindling allies, this article talks about the Taiwan China equation, so we'll see this article with respect to exam. The helicopter program, we'll see this particular article also with respect to the examination. Then guys, this particular article talks about the Indian women boxers and their performances, a shared G20 vision for the ocean commons. We'll see this particular article also for the examination. A bishop's help for to the BJP, not very much important article talking about RSS BJP. Then further moving on, after that guys, what explains India's COVID-19 booster coverage. So the article talks about that booster dose, that is third dose, has not been taken up eagerly in India. Fine, so the numbers are being compared here, fine, age wise, country wise and all such things. Okay, then coming to text and context page, the disqualification conundrum. So this article is with respect to the disqualification of Mr. Rahul Gandhi that just happened. Then further, we'll see this article as what is important there. Then screening for autism, how to assess and identify the severity of the disorder. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination as whatever the relevant substance are. Then further moving on guys, after that coming to then Nepal on high alert as Amritpal crossed the border. You are not required to go and track all these developments. Affinity test is not a litmus test to decide caste claims. We'll see this particular article. Then guys, further moving on, as Bihar readies for caste survey, statisticians worry about data. So guys, basically the Bihar government is taking up the caste survey where the different caste people's population will be tracked. Now, in this particular direction, it is going to be a very big exercise, okay, and how it is to be managed, it's going to be a really a big issue. Then after that, guys, here we have then the political articles, protest going on, fine. Please guys, don't go in these political articles for your exam point of view. Then these tenders etc are there. Okay, students to get new textbook from NCERT after a gap of nearly 20 years. Okay, so in the education ministry will now be rolling out the new textbooks based on the national education policy of 2020 that has been released. Okay, then further moving on guys, the heat action plan in India failed to identify vulnerable groups. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Then after that, center asked states to be on high alert because of COVID. No need to go track and this article. Supreme Court frees a man of death row as he was a minor. Right. Then further moving on in this direction, guys, coming to the world page. So basically, the Netanyahu's and the issues protest in Israel are being discussed here. Women shot dead, 6 including 3 children in Nashville school attack. Okay, so guys, here we have seen this particular thing that in US recently these attacks have happened, and this is actually a kind of a thing that has happened many number of times, and because of this there are also the gun controls that have been talked about. Okay, then further after that, Sri Lanka clears global oil companies entry into country's fuel market. Then business page, SEBI set to regulate index providers. We'll see this particular article. After that, guys, the corporate trends, etc., that has been given, they are not relevant for the examination. And then we have the sports page. So this is, guys, the overview of entire newspaper. And the idea of the purpose behind giving you an overview is to help you identify that which articles are actually important for your exam. So now moving on, and let's take the relevant articles one by one in detail. So guys, taking up, so first every class we take a GS quote, and today we'll take the quotation from Elizabeth Price Foley. So she says that federalism isn't about states' right. It's about dividing power to better protect individuals' liberty. So often in India also we see that there are the federal disputes between the state and the center, where often the states say that the centers have encroached on their powers, and this battle becomes as just a legal battle between the center and state. But often they fail to understand that how in this particular tussle individuals rights, individuals liberties, citizens freedom, citizens welfare is being compromised. So federal design is just to ensure that how citizens can be provided the best of the best welfare, their liberties are to be ensured, and all such things. We can use this particular idea in GS paper number 2, issues related to polity. Now moving on, guys, moving on, and let's take the first article for today. So guys, the first article we are going to take is this dwindling allies from editorial section. Now guys, uh, basically before going in this particular article, first of all let me tell you the utility of this article, and then I will tell you a little bit of a background, and then we'll go in this particular article. So this article will be seen with respect to GS paper number 2 international issues. GS paper number 2 international issues or international affairs. Now first of all guys, as we talk about China and Taiwan, China and Taiwan, between China and Taiwan, there is a kind of a rivalry that is going on since 1949, after the China, mainland China, emerged as an independent sovereign nation. Now understand this thing, that actually there are right now two setups. One is China, one is Taiwan. And basically both of them claim that they are the real China. China says that the mainland China is the real China, and Taiwan is nothing but the part of China. And Taiwan says that we are the mainland, we are the real China. Now in this particular direction, who is the real China? This is a kind of an issue. Now guys, up till now, China has received the diplomatic support of the UN, as well as most of the countries in the world recognize China as a real China. China maintains one policy by the name of One China Principle. One China Principle. As per this One China Principle, China puts forward two conditions on the world countries. Condition number one. Condition number one. They say that if any country will maintain the diplomatic relation with the Taiwan, then they cannot maintain the diplomatic relation with the China. Okay. According to China, any such diplomatic relations with Taiwan means that China's sovereign interest is being disturbed. So therefore, only 12 countries are there which up till now have the diplomatic relation with Taiwan. Maximum countries have diplomatic relation with China. So it means they don't recognize Taiwan as a sovereign independent nation. They consider that it is a part of a China only. Second thing is that guys, under the One China Principle, China says that one day Taiwan will be reunited with China. And for that particular thing, even if they want to use the force, they will use the force and they will reunite the Taiwan with the China. Okay, this is the policy of One China policy of China. In this particular direction, if we talk about the India earlier endorsed the One China policy, but guys, but what has happened since last 10-15 years, we are silent on that particular thing. Neither we are rejecting nor we are accepting, but we maintain direct diplomatic relation with China. So therefore, we don't recognize Taiwan as entirely a sovereign nation. Then when we talk about the USA, US maintains strategic ambiguity in this respect. Strategic ambiguity means that they say that okay, we recognize mainland China as the real China, but at the same time they have not even rejected the Taiwan. Okay. Now what is happening? You know this particular thing, that China and USA relations are going down. And as China US relations are declining, now US in order to counter China, or US as an act of defiance against the China, they are cultivating close relations with the Taiwan. What happened few months back? Nancy Pelosi of US also visited Taiwan. Okay, China got very irritated because of that particular thing. Because China said that why you are sending the diplomatic mission to Taiwan? This is going against our One China principle. But USA on a purpose is doing this particular thing. Now what has happened? China is trying that even few countries that are there in the support of Taiwan, they should come in support of China. Okay, so what China is doing? China is diplomatic isolating Taiwan now. And in this particular direction, one thing has happened. What has happened? Okay, by the way, this entire One China principle I have provided here in these two paragraphs. You can download this notes. Now what has happened? So Honduras. Okay, so Honduras has also now joined the group of countries. So I've said you that the maximum of the countries has recognized China as the real China. So now Honduras has also joined the group of countries that have switched their recognition from Taipei, that is Taiwan, to Beijing. Okay, so now Taiwan has only 12 countries. Taiwan now only has 12 countries, okay, which actually recognizes the Taiwan. It includes Vatican, okay, and it largely includes the small Pacific island nations, Paraguay, okay. So therefore, Taiwan's diplomatic isolation is happening, and China is becoming successful in this particular direction. Okay, so this is, guys, as how we see that between Taiwan and China, new set of confrontations are brewing up. Now, Beijing, why this thing Beijing is doing? It is because, guys, that Beijing now has got substantially irritated by the USA's issue when US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited. China said that never US should have done this thing because that was a red line. That was a very sensitive matter for China. Sending a speaker to Taiwan was a very disturbing thing for China. USA should not have done. And now, for ensuring the diplomatic isolation, China is convincing more and more countries that they come and they join the China's camp. Okay, so this is, guys, this entire issue. Okay, what has been talked about. Now what we are saying is that as per one China principle, Taiwan also says that one day they will ensure that Taiwan is reunited with China. Now, right now, China is becoming too much aggressive. And as on one front we see that the Russia-Ukraine issue is going on another front there might be a possibility that the China-Taiwan issue, China-Taiwan confrontations can develop. But both China and Taiwan need to understand that they need to have utmost sensitivity while dealing this particular matter. So this is, guys, entire issue that has happened. I hope, guys, that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article, the disqualification conundrum. The disqualification conundrum. We will see this article with respect to GS paper number 2, issues related to polity and RPA, Representation of People's Act. Now, guys, this issue is coming virtually every day in every newspaper from past 3-4 days since this disqualification has happened. Now understand this thing, you don't need to do a PhD on this particular matter. You need to understand that only that type of content you need to see which could be important for examination. Okay, now going on in this particular article. Now, first of all, guys, what has happened? Let me tell you, give you a brief idea. So, basically, Mr. Rahul Gandhi in the past has made certain statements on the name of Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, and that particular matter was raised. That particular matter on that particular matter, defamation was filed. Now, under IPC section 499 and 500 provides for defamation. Supreme Court has held the right to reputation. You cannot tarnish a person's reputation. If you tarnish a person's reputation, then the case of defamation can be filed. And on Mr. Rahul Gandhi, defamation was filed. Now what has happened? A court in Gujarat has found Mr. Rahul Gandhi guilty and has said that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has to go for a jail term of 2 years. But for 30 days, his sentence has been suspended. Okay. Now, when a sitting legislator has been awarded as a punishment of 2 years or more, then that particular person is disqualified from his or her seat, and for further 6 years, okay, after the end of their punishment, they stands disqualified. So it means in total for 8 years a person will be disqualified from contesting elections, and even if a person is legislator, for 8 years that particular person will be disqualified. That has happened. Now, Mr. Rahul Gandhi has also been disqualified. In this thing, Lok Sabha Secretariat has already issued a notification. Now, when we talk about the disqualifications, Article 102 mentions the disqualification. It provides certain reasons in which a person will be disqualified. Number one, if a person, if he holds an office of profit, if a person is of unsound mind, undischarged, insolvent, not a citizen of India, or had voluntarily acquired the citizenship of some other country, or if a person is disqualified under a law made by Parliament, Now what has happened? Parliament has actually made a law which disqualifies the legislators, and that law is Representation of People Act 1951. and Mr. Rahul Gandhi has got disqualified under the Representation of People Act. So let's understand the provision under which Mr. Rahul Gandhi had got disqualified. So when we talk about Representation of People Act, guys, this particular act contains certain provisions which provides the conditions of disqualification. Number one, there is a section 8 subclause 1 of RPF. It says that if a person is promoting enmity between the two groups, fine, on the basis of religion or something else, or if a person has accepted bribery or has carried a personation in an election, okay, has tried to make himself look, has tried to personate some other person in the election, then a person will be disqualified. This is one thing. Second is that it provides that if a person has carried holding or profiteering or adulteration of food, okay, when the food is in shortage, you collect a lot of food in an expectation that you will sell it when the prices will go up. So that is holding, adulteration of food. Or if a person has been sentenced for 6 months punishment for Dowry Prohibition Act, then the person will be disqualified. Now, obviously, these two, Section 8.1, Section 8.2 doesn't apply in the case of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Then there comes the Section 8.3. Section 8.3. Section 8.3 provides that apart from Section 8.1, Section 8.2, if for any other offense, a legislator has been convicted, and if that particular legislator has been given a imprisonment of not less than 2 years, then that particular person will be disqualified and will stay disqualified for the punishment period and for 6 years after that punishment period. So, 2 years a jail term has been given to Mr. Rahul Gandhi. So, he stands disqualified for 8 years now. Now, there is one particular section that is being discussed a lot in the newspapers and everywhere today. That is Section 8 subclause 4. This could have been the magic bullet for Rahul Gandhi. It could have saved him. Now, what is Section 8 subclause 4? So, it provides this particular thing that it provided that a person will not be disqualified. Fine, suppose a person have been given a jail, let's say 2 years. The person will not be immediately disqualified and will be disqualified only after 3 months from the date of conviction. And within that particular period, a person could file an appeal before the High Court. Clear? So, what happened? So, person will not be disqualified, a person will be disqualified after 3 months, and within that, that particular person can file a petition in the High Court or some other court. So, immediate disqualification was prevented by this Section 8 subclause 4. But what has happened, Section 8 subclause 4 cannot be used in this particular case, because this particular provision, Section 8 subclause 4, has already been struck in Lily Thomas versus Union of India case. It was struck. Now, it was provided, guys, that when the Section 8 subclause 4 was struck in 2013, at that point of a time, UPA government, it brought an ordinance to again bring back Section 8 subclause 4. But that ordinance was rejected by Mr. Rahul Gandhi. It was even publicly torn, and since then, Section 8 subclause 4 has not been there. Now a question, so this could have protected him. Now a question comes that why Section 8 subclause 4 was declared as unconstitutional by Supreme Court. So for that particular thing, Supreme Court said that Supreme Court used Article 102, and it said that basically this Section 8 subclause 4 that was there, the Parliament, it was said that Section 8 subclause 4 that came here, the Parliament lacked the legislative competence to enact it. Fine, the Parliament lacked the legislative competence to enact it. Fine. So, Parliament lacked the legislative competence to enact it. Now, what happened? Basically, the court ruled that the Parliament was not competent to have separate provisions for two situations. Now, what are these two situations? Article 102 provided that the ground for disqualification can be provided by a separate law. Parliament came with the RPA. Now, what happened? Parliament provided that, see, if a common citizen is there, and if a common citizen has been convicted for an offence where more than 2 years of jail has been given, then that particular person will be disqualified immediately. Okay, then that particular person will be disqualified immediately. But if he is a legislator, then that particular person gets a 3-year grace, and within 3 years, the person can file a petition. So what happened? The two categories have been created by the parliament. Okay, commoners are treated separately, and legislators will be treated separately. So it has been said that parliament, but Supreme Court said that by creating one provision for immediate disqualification for ordinary citizen and another one for deferred disqualification for legislator, Parliament had violated the constitutional mandate. It is going against the right to equality. So therefore, section 8 subclause 4 was said that it is removed. Okay. So this is, guys, something that has happened in this particular direction. Okay. Then further, moving on to the next article. Affinity test. Affinity test is not a litmus test to decide caste claims. Affinity test is not a litmus test to decide caste claims. Now, guys, you don't need to go too much in detail in this particular article. Fine, just a small development had come here. Now, see this thing. Guys, as a matter of social justice, we recognize scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. And scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, they are given the affirmative, as the affirmative action, they are given the reservation. Okay. Now the point is that how we recognize that who is the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, particularly the scheduled tribes. So for recognizing the scheduled tribe, right now the affinity test is done. Affinity test is done. Now what is this affinity test? Let's understand this thing. Affinity test means that a particular person's anthropological and ethnological traits will be seen. Now tribal peoples, they have a different, basically their development and their evolution is supposed to be little bit different than the mainstream people. They have their different cultures, they have their different practices. So basically on the basis of their anthropological and ethnological traits, the deities that they are worshipping, the rituals that they are following, the customs that they are following, the mode of marriages, okay, death ceremonies, birth ceremonies, okay, how they carry the burial of the dead bodies. So on all these particular things, we determine that whether a person belongs to scheduled caste or scheduled tribe. Okay, and on that particular parameter, the people are described as a scheduled caste or scheduled tribe. Okay, this is called as the affinity test. This is being used, but Supreme Court said that this cannot be a foolproof test. Why? Because, guys, understand this thing that yes, many tribes actually had a unique anthological and anthropological trait, but what has happened, many tribes have become mainstreamed, many tribes have become modern. Today they might not need that strong affirmative action. Okay, so just only these things cannot be there, we also need to see backwardness, we also need to see backwardness. Okay, so a new test of determining a person is a scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, this is needed. Affinity test is not sufficient enough. Okay, this is something that has been ruled by the Supreme Court. So what Supreme Court is saying, Supreme Court provides this particular thing that we need to come out with a new test. We came out with a new test, it is not a litmus test. So what new test? This particular matter has been debated since long. We'll see if it will come. Then moving to next article. A shared G20 vision, a shared G20 vision for the ocean commons. Now, this article will see with respect to GS paper number 2, India's role in the international organization, and GS paper number 3, issues related to Indian economy. So within GS2 and GS3, we'll see this particular article. Okay, now, fine. So guys, right now, you might already be knowing that India is presiding the G20 chairmanship. India is presiding the G20 chairmanship. Okay, and in that, India should specifically focus on ocean conservation. This is the gist of this particular article. Now, what article is talking about? So guys, the article is talking about that when we talk about oceans, oceans, fine, the oceans are reservoir of global biodiversity, marine diversity. They are regulators of the global weather, climate, as well as also they support economy. Okay, many countries are based on the marine resources such as fisheries, etc. Fine, so the oceans are very important. When we use the term blue economy, it doesn't only means the ocean dependent economic development, but it also means that how oceans are to be used for inclusive social development, how environmental and ecological security is also to be taken care by the country which is following the blue economy model. So blue economy is not only the utilization of the resources of ocean, but it is also about the conservation of ocean. It also is to use ocean to bring inclusive development, use oceans so that opportunities can be provided to everyone. Okay. Now, it is being said that Prime Minister of India even recognized that the blue chakra in Indian flag represents the potential of the ocean economy. So, this is a very good reference you can use in your answers. Now, when we talk about the G20 countries, they contain 45% of world's coastlines and 21% of EEZ. So this particular grouping has a lot of potential that they can set rules for G20. Okay. Now, moving on, guys, in this particular direction, India has taken a lot of initiatives here to leverage the blue economy potential, and very, very important, guys, here, please note it down directly in your notebook. So, what initiatives India has taken? Sagarmala initiative, which aims to bring port-led development; shipbuilding financial assistance policy, which will provide assistance to domestic industries for shipbuilding; then Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, to utilize the basically it is for marine fisheries, fine, fishery development. Then Sagarmala Manthan dashboard, it tracks the vessels in real time. Then Deep Ocean Mission, to explore the deep sea minerals such as polymetallic modules and all such other minerals. Okay. Then there is a coastal regulation zone, which classifies the coastal regions, fine, for their better management. Many number of times the construction activities are being done on coasts, fine, which is neither which is not sustainable nor should be done here for the ocean and ocean health. So they are regulated. Okay. Then plastic waste management rules we have come, where single use plastic items have been banned. Now, these single usage plastic items don't have much utility, and they disintegrate in microplastics, and then these microplastics reach the ocean, and there they disturb the ocean species. So we have come out with this. Now, guys, the article is further talking about is that when we talk about the blue economy has also been articulated as a key priority area under the environment and climate sustainability working group, which is under G20. So it is giving a lot of focus. Moreover, over the last decade, G20 has also taken ocean related activities very seriously. For example, there is G20 action plan on marine litter, which aims to reduce the dumping of wastage into the ocean. Then there is Osaka Blue Ocean Vision, fine. Then there is a Coral Research and Development Accelerator platform. All are talking about sustainable usage of oceans and conservation of oceans. Okay, this is something that has happened. Moreover, Ocean 20 was also launched. Now, when we talk about, guys, presently the world is facing marine pollution, over extraction of resources, over utilization of resources, ocean diversity is under threat. So this is an important juncture at which we need to take a cognizance of these matters. And India is as leading under G20. India is should take this particular matter with a lot of sensitivity. So this is what has been contained in this entire article. Fine. Now, guys, moving to the next article. This helicopter program cannot go into a tailspin. Now, this article, guys, we'll see with respect to the GS paper number 3, indigenization of defense. Now, what has happened, guys? So this article is talking about the flaws in India's advanced light helicopter program. Now, advanced light helicopters are the most used vehicles within the armed forces. They are used for transportation, they are used for logistics, okay, and many such other kind of purposes. Now, what has happened, guys? We have seen that there have been 17 major accidents which have involved the India's advanced light helicopters, which are being developed by Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. Now, 17 accidents. Basically, it is putting the India's advanced light helicopters and HAL under the bad publicity. So what has happened recently, one more incident happened where Indian Coast Guard's advanced light helicopter Mark 3 MR, fine, it was carrying a test flight, and just after carrying the flight, it burnt. Okay, accident happened. Now it has been provided that since then, Indian Navy as well as Indian Coast Guard has suspended their advanced light helicopter operations. They have grounded them. Now, the article is saying that around the world, most air accidents 80% of the accidents are because of the human error, but there is no human error here. Most of the times it shows that there are some kind of a technical flaws in the design of advanced light helicopter. So the article is talking about that basically while we are certifying the advanced light helicopters, and when there are these kind of accidents that are happening, it is dampening India's Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, and India want to become a kind of an India wanted to become the net exporter of weaponry, helicopters, aircrafts. So this is a dampening that particular program. So we need to fix the possible flaws in design, okay, production, quality control, all these things. If they are not fixed, then India's Atmanirbhar Bharat targets will not be met. So this is something that has been provided in this particular article. Beyond that, guys, you are not required to go in detail, because then it is not that much relevant. Okay, now moving to the next article. Screening for autism, how to assess and identify the severity of the disorder. Okay guys, if you are liking the video, guys, please do hit the like button. Why? To show so much of hesitance in that. Okay, screening for autism, how to assess and identify the severity of the disorder. Now basically guys, this is a pulse check article, and in the pulse check article they take some of the health issues and talk a lot on that. Now this article is talking about the autism. Now you have to do a selective reading of this particular article. You are not required to read the every line of this particular article for the sake of examination, because then the treatment methodologies and all that thing, they are too much specific, not relevant for the exam. Then further moving on guys in this particular direction here. So basically, what is autism? So autism spectrum disorder, it is a developmental condition that often can be observed during the childhood. Now the autism spectrum disorder, it affects the social communication, it affects the way as a child interacts, it affects their behavior. Most of the times the autism where communicational challenges, interaction, behavior related challenges are being faced by the children, it is not properly understood and it is also underdiagnosed. Okay, it has been said that what we need to focus, what we need to ensure, we need to ensure that if there is such kind of a symptoms that are being seen, then early diagnosis and early interventions are needed to be done, which are very much crucial, in this particular direction. Now it has been said that the autism's diagnosis can happen in the early part of the life. So when a child is being taken for regular medical checkups, so within 18 to 24 months of the development of a child, in the regular checkups, a doctor may notice the child's behavior, development, family history, and by that may look for the signs of autism. And if a child is showing the signs of autism, then they can be sent for second stage evaluation, fine, where healthcare professionals can take the targeted interventions. So this is the way as how the autism can be treated. This is guys the only substance given in this particular article. Beyond that, much important things are not there. Okay. SEBI set to regulate index providers. SEBI set to regulate index providers. Now what this particular article guys is all talking about. Now this particular article guys, SEBI set to regulate index providers. So now let me tell you basically guys that when for example you take the example of mutual funds. Now there are many mutual funds which are linked with the indexes, For example, there is HDFC Sensex fund. Now what is happening there? If you have put money into the HDFC Sensex fund, your investments will be done in the companies which are listed in the Sensex. Your investment will be done in the companies which are listed in the Sensex. Now there are many different types of indexes. There is a Nifty index fund, there is Sensex index fund, then there is index fund which is tied to sectors. Now it has been provided guys that many times, for example, recently what happened, the Adani's Hindenburg report was released. After that the Adani's stock went down. Now Adani's stocks were there in many of the different index funds. They were there. Because of that, the passive investors' wealth has went down. So basically, and even the fund managers are not very much active to rectify that particular thing. So the article is saying that when these index funds are there, SEBI need to active to see that the index fund managers are active, are carrying the active oversight, and such companies, if they are there, which are very much volatile, they are needed to be removed from these index funds. Okay, so this is, guys, now SEBI set to regulate. What will actually be happening, we'll see that. Right now it is just a proposal, it is just an idea. Okay, so because of that thing, no need to go too much in detail here. Then next, heat action plan in India. Heat action plan in India. Okay. Fine. So heat action plan in India failed to identify vulnerable groups study. Now, guys, see this particular thing that we have seen from the last few years, that the heat waves and the number of days the heat waves are there, they have increased. And many of the old age people, children, people who are homeless, they are getting affected from these heat waves. Now, for, guys, handling the heat waves, heat action plans, heat wave action plans, fine, heat waves action plan are to be designed by the state government as well as to be designed by the municipalities. They have to execute it. Now, what has happened? Basically, the heat action plans across the 18 states have been evaluated. Heat action plans across the 18 states have been evaluated, and it has been found that these heat action plans are not sufficient. They are not providing the solutions as A, they have not identified vulnerable group. B, if they have identified, they have not talked on the solutions. So it has been said that the heat waves have increased 98, 2002, likewise 2022. These are very severe heat waves and large number of tolls have happened. They are impacting the productivity of people, water availability. So these heat action plans, okay, are not accommodating the severity of the heat waves, are not identifying the vulnerable groups. Though vulnerable groups have been put in broad categories such as elderly, outdoor workers, pregnant women, but solutions have not contained much of things that what should be done in this particular direction. So this is something that has been provided. So the government needs to intervene actively here, and the heat waves are needed to be managed. This is the entire idea here. Okay, that is all, guys, about it. And now moving to the mains practice question for today. So mains practice question for today says that India's G20 presidency would play an important role in promoting individual and collective actions to facilitate the transition towards a sustainable blue economy. Analyze. So this is, guys, going to be the GS paper number 3 10 marker question. So that is all, guys, about it. And with this, we come an end to the today's newspaper analysis. So, guys, this is all about it, and I hope that you have understood the articles. And if you have liked the video, guys, please do hit the like button. Please do comment on the video. Now we'll